We talked to Stephane Pere from the newspaper The Economist. You're Chief Data Officer. Why does a newspaper need a Chief Data Officer?
We think about data to infuse data into our business model. Our business model is pretty simple.
Data into your business model?
Yes, business model is pretty simple. We do two things. We build good content that people want to pay, and we provide solutions for advertisers to reach that audience. So the business model is about promoting subscription, and it's about having great marketing solutions for advertisers.
So it's both?
Yes.
Both those revenue streams is where you focus?
Yes.
And what are the new things, new revenue? Are you looking at new revenue streams?
I mean, of course, we are looking at new revenue streams. But the first thing, when you think about data, is how can you help your core business model? How can you help support the broad KPI? That's what matters. As far as we are concerned, the first win for us is to find new ways to identify, right, and engage and convert prospects to become customers. And customers mean people who are going to subscribe to print, online apps, or even a combo of these three.
You get those mainly from your free website?
Well, we do it differently. We also look at not just converting free users to become paid users, but we think about the way to support acquisition. Think about paid media. How can we approach it differently? So maybe I can walk you through an example, right?
Yes, please.
That would be good. So in the past, we used to portray our customer in a simple way and brief an agency to say, find people like them. So we might have been saying...
And they make an ad.
And they make an ad and run it on publishers. So the way we did it is saying maybe it's a male, educated, high income, urban, go find people like them. And we realized with data, it was an opportunity to deep dive in our core customers and think differently about these guys. Think differently about identifying prospects. The way we did it was to combine different data sets. One, the pure CRM data. People who know what they are customers, what they buy, their social demographic. Second, amplify it with their digital engagement data through the web analytics, what they care, what they most read. And then amplify this through a data management platform with other data points coming from the marketplace, income, broad interest, etc.
But this is still your subscribers?
Well, this is where we start.
To start.
And then we create a seed audience for prospect. We base a lookalike modeling for acquisition. And it's pretty simple.
Right, now it gets interesting. How do you create a lookalike audience?
So you have a DMP, you cross web analytics, CRM data, amplified through the marketplace. We have a DMP from Oracle, lookalike, and then we pass that data, lookalike modeling, pass it to the agency. Our agency then turn at the DSP, right? And then we think about how serving the right ad in the right context. So we have a combination of contextual relevance and creative optimization with flash talking and grape shot.
Right, that's very interesting. So take us through that in a little bit more detail. You make your lookalike audience in lookalike. How do you do that?
Well, it's backed in the tool. So you select audiences, you create actor-like or lookalike, and then you pass it to an agency. And then the job is to leverage DSPs.
But you pass then cookies to an agency.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's based on cookies, absolutely. So it's working for digital paid media, mostly display, social.
And only for those people who gave you a cookie authorization.
Absolutely. But it's a good base.
So where do you get that?
How do we get this?
The cookie authorization of your non-subscribers. Through your free website.
First, we take cookies of current customers. Then we create lookalike modeling based on that. And we push this to create new models to acquire new profiles. So the beauty of it is you say, I want people like them, but are not subscribers who never came to the website. You can exclude it from the cookie information.
All right.
So you really tap into new eyeballs.
Yeah.
And bottom line, we cut our acquisition cost by half doing that. So it's a combination of good data, good activation piece. But that said, it will never work if we didn't have a good creative strategy. Data was great, technology is great, but it worked because we had a good message, a good call to action, which was not about a discount, subscribe now. It was more about pushing our content into the banners to make them newsworthy and catchy.
Explain that to me.
Example. Just give me an example. We were lining up our creative based on articles we were releasing. one day we did an article.
Headline or background?
We did an article in a newspaper about data and marketing, for example, right?
You wrote it.
So, no, not myself. It would be much better written, as I'm a French speaker, right? And so what we did is also prepare a creative talking about that. And the creative was simple. The creative was, this banner knows everything about you. How do you feel? Special or spooked? And when you were moving your mouse, the camera was following you. There was a little camera, right? But we place this ad in a special context. Example, NSA article or any article about surveillance on the whole web. So you see, suddenly you combine identification.
Any article about this subject.
Yeah.
But can you target that?
Yeah, you know, there is
In Holland you can't.
there is a lot of feeds going through the RTB market and the programmatic market, and contextual is some data you can get. It's easier to do in programmatic direct or direct deal with publishers because you could have access to their CMS or more data. But scanning URL is already a good way to have a sense about the context of the article.
You said something interesting. You cut your acquisition cost by half. That means you have results. You tested. You have. What made the difference?
I mean, I guess the difference was to really finally tap into new eyeballs, but new eyeballs which were likely to convert better.
With those relevant messages.
Yes, yes.
And how much did you test this, or is this? Are you doing this very big now?
Yeah, it started with a test campaign that we called a brand response campaign, the best of both worlds, creating desires and converting into customers. And it started as a campaign with a start and an end, but we realized there was never any end. Because at the end...
Yeah, but the pilots are more likely to succeed because you choose your pilot to be successful. Then the next step is to make it big.
Yes.
In which step are you?
Oh, we did the test in like October 2014, and now we've building on this, and now it's an ongoing program. Every week, every month, we keep optimizing it.
So how much of your acquisition is done by this method?
I mean, digitally, it's almost essentially, we do everything brand response.
90%?
Yes, we'll be like that.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. Now the challenge is how we scale the volumes. Yeah. It's good to reduce your acquisition cost, but then you need to find even more customers. And that's why you need to find a balance between not being too obsessed by reducing your CPA, because you also have to have a bigger reach to bring in a funnel.
Which means a higher CPA.
Yes. At the first step, we hope. So that's what it's about. Now it's about scaling.
And now what's your next step?
Next step is to infuse data in all the businesses. Editorial. We work closely with editorial to think about how we post on social. How do we make better call to action? Product, user experience, bettering our products every day, apps, online, other things.
So you started with only subscriber acquisition, and now you expand to all your other revenue streams.
Well, before subscription, we started with advertising. That was a quicker win because the market by definition was data-driven and programmatic. The second step was acquisition, digital acquisition. And now we're working more on data science for engagement, retention, understanding churn, understanding what is the right model between free content and paid content. It's all about the next step of the optimization.
What's your dream? Where are you in 10 years or 5 years?
Oh, that's great, 5 years. You know, the real dream for us is not only to optimize everything we do, but also to reinvent ourselves, not being just a newspaper. As an example now, we also leverage data to understand usage, new trends, to inform our product roadmap. As an example, we saw that the video consumption was getting bigger, so now we launch documentaries. Now we think about being relevant every day. We have a daily app. Now we think about new marketplace, and we have a Chinese version for an app. And tomorrow, we might be in your car, we might be in your home. So it's a way to flip the way we think about us as a newspaper. No, not a newspaper. We are a brand, and we need to provide experiences every day, wherever you go.
And what kind of brand are you? A newsy brand or a different kind of brand?
We used to be perceived as a legacy news brand. Let's see how we can be relevant in other spaces now.
What's the most important tip you can give to other newspapers?
Don't try to do everything all of a sudden. Think big, but start small.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.